everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and another episode of A&J Reviews. We are talking Star Wars, The Mandalorian Season 3 again tonight. And of course, I have the star of the show with me, my nephew Aiden. What is going on, buddy?
Stuff.
Are you ready to talk about this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shortest episode.
Yeah, it is a shorter
Last
episode.
time it was the longest episode, now it's the shortest episode.
Yeah, so this is definitely a shorter episode. For anyone watching, we are talking about episode 4. We will be back on Thursday to talk about episode 5. We're a little behind, but we wanted to do one episode at a time. We're a little behind because somebody got to go to the ocean and do fun stuff last week. I don't know who that was. It wasn't me. I was at work. So it wasn't me. So somebody got to have a good time last week. So we're a little behind, but we're going to get caught up. We're talking episode 4 tonight. So episode starts with, we get this little training montage. We see them all out on the beach training, and Jin makes Grogu come and challenge one of the younger Mandalorians, one of the other foundlings or one of the other kids, to start training to fight. So what did you think of this little sequence?
Well, I mean, if Baby Yoda's gonna learn the creed, he's gotta start learning how to fight, I guess.
You gotta start learning how to be a Mandalorian, right?
Fought before, because he's literally stopped big monsters that are bigger than Mando.
Yeah. So he knows how to. He has his Jedi skills still, but he needs to learn how to be a Mandalorian, right? And so that's what we're seeing here is him starting down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So during this, we got a quote, like when he gets up to challenge the other kid, the kid says something about he's too small, that he can't fight or whatever. And Jin makes a comment about one does not speak unless one knows. And the kid's like, I know, or whatever. And he's like, well, maybe the lesson's for you. So what did you think about that conversation about, because he was judging Grogu without knowing anything about him? Like, what did you think about that conversation?
Kind of too much confidence, and just because you've been winning multiple times doesn't mean you can win every time. Just because if someone's small doesn't mean they're tough or strong. You can't judge somebody by how they look.
Yeah, you can't. So yeah, he's judging him based on his size and the fact that he's won his other match against some other kids that were bigger, so he assumes he's better. But you can never, you never know what the person that if you don't know anything about that person, you don't know what they're capable of, right? Just because they're smaller or bigger or what. So as we see as they go through this, we see initially Grogu is not sure exactly what to do, and the kid is about to win, it appears, before Grogu beats him. So what did you think of Grogu? Also kind of needed like Jen to like give him some confidence that no, you can show what you can do. You can demonstrate your abilities, right? Because he seemed to be like holding back.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think about that? Like Grogu needing a minute, like needing some confidence before he could actually really participate in the way he needed to.
I mean, like, if he's going to be a Mandalorian again, he has to fight like them, but this time he wanted to, Mandalorians sometimes fight their own style. I mean, like,
yeah,
a lot of people fight their own style, so Grogu just needed to be pumped up and, like, use his own style and not be afraid to use his own powers.
Yeah, uses his abilities, right? Like what he's good at like use his strengths instead of trying to like, he can learn Mandalorian skills, but still needs to use his strengths, right? Yeah. So knowing what you're good at and being willing to rely on those. So before we go further, I didn't shout out the chat because I forgot. GT Key was in here hanging out. Always appreciated. My friend Unruly, what is going on? Crazy guy, comic song too crazy. What's going on? Welcome everyone hanging out with us tonight. So anything else about this opening sequence? So Grogu ultimately defeats him, and the kid kind of like, you can see he's like a little upset and disappointed that he lost. And so what did you think about that? Just how he handles actually getting beat?
I think he's kind of like, he feels like he failed, but
yeah,
like, he got too confident.
He got too confident, and then so he kind of wanders off because he doesn't know what to do. Like he's feeling depressed that he lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that ultimately leads us to what is the crutch of this whole episode is it's another monster episode. We've had a few of these. We have at least one of these, it seems like every episode, every season of The Mandalorian, where they're taking on some sort of monster. So we have this big giant bird fly in, or pterodactyl type creature fly in and take the kid and fly away, like taking him for a meal. So what did you think of this giant bird that we were seeing? What did you think when you saw the bird on the screen?
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, did you feel like it was kind of an odd addition, or did you think it was fun, or what did you think?
I mean, the kid kind of deserved it.
Kind of deserved to be eaten by a bird? I don't know, but that seems a little extreme. That seems a little extreme, but he doesn't get eaten. He gets taken, and we see the Mandalorians pursuing their jetpacks, but we watch that the bird, and something we've never really seen before, but like those jetpacks aren't very big. So we see that they actually have a realistic limit to how far they can go, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing that we've seen in the beginning of the episode is so they can't follow the bird, but we see Bo-Katan, who was in the previous episode, had been accepted into the covert because she had not removed her helmet, trying to fit in, right? She's wandering around as they're battling, and she's trying to fit in and staying with these people, kind of looking for a new home, maybe, because she had lost everything. But we see her smartly go after the bird in her ship instead of with a jetpack. So what did you think of Bo-Katan kind of stepping up here? What did you think about that?
Well, does she have a jetpack, Bo-Katan?
I think she does. That's a good question. I don't remember for sure. I don't know if she always has one.
Guess she knew the limit, to the jetpack or something, so she improvised and used her ship instead.
Right. So she flies off and finds out where the bird is actually nesting so they can come up with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So when she returns, they start coming up with a plan that they're going to try to sneak close and climb up to the bird's nest to save the kid. So at this point, though, we get a flashback. We get to see Grogu meeting with the armor after they leave to go save the kid. And the armor talking to him about being a Mandalorian a little bit in the way. And Grogu has a flashback we finally get to see how he made it out of the Jedi Temple. What did you think about that sequence?
I mean, it'd be okay if we didn't get the answer, because by now it isn't really helping us. It wouldn't really help us with anything with the main story, but to know about Grogu, I guess it'd help more.
So I kind of agree. It felt like an odd place to include his backstory a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like it was kind of Grogu hasn't really done much this season. He hasn't really been a big part of the story to this point. So I did feel like it was maybe a beat to include something Grogu content, right? To give him more to do or more to be a bigger part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Now we see him saved by a Jedi that we don't know, that we've never met before. Is how he gets off Coruscant. Now I told you this before the show, and you didn't realize this was the case. That the actor that plays the Jedi that saves Grogu is the same actor that played Jar Jar Binks. You were surprised by that. Why were you surprised by that?
I don't know. The voices sound so different.
Right, you didn't realize he changed his voice that much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he did.
But his voice was always high pitched.
No, yeah, he was doing a voice to be Jar Jar, and then what we hear in this episode is his actual voice. So that actor, I don't know if you know this, but he got a lot of negative feedback on being Jar Jar was not a super popular character, so he got kind of a lot of negative feedback from being Jar Jar. So there was a lot of people that at the time didn't like Jar Jar as a character. So, and he had kind of like
Who are these people?
well, it was people that had preconceived notions of what they wanted Star Wars to be. So, and so this guy had kind of sworn off Star Wars stuff, and they invited him back to let him be a Jedi, which was kind of a fun thing. So that was why he got to be a Jedi. Yeah. Your mom's chiming in that we didn't say it, that she's talking to him about how things happened to us at the Forge, and that's why we get his flashback. So he's thinking about what happened to him. So yeah, I mean they fit it in. It was just kind of an odd place for me in the storytelling to fit that in, but maybe because it was a short episode, they felt like they had room to give us that Grogu scene finally, for sure. So anything else about the Grogu flashback that you want to talk about? No?
Nope.
Okay. So after that, we see them kind of approaching the lair of the bird and the mountaintop that it's on, and they decide to make camp. And we see that Bo-Katan has sort of, not really intentionally, but become the leader, and that they've acknowledged her as the leader, like, of the party, right? When they they're having dinner, and she asks, well, how does this work when we all have our helmets on? And he's like, well, we all separate. And they're like, no, you're the leader. You get to stay at the fire. What did you think about her and her reaction to, like, because I don't think she was really expecting to be considered the leader, right?
Yeah, because she thought she only needs the she has to have the dark saber to be just the leader.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's always felt like she needed, like, to really solidify her leadership. She needed the dark saber. But this group just is acknowledging her for her ability and her knowledge, right? She's the one that came up with the plan. Like, she's shown, she's come up with this plan. She's shown leadership qualities, and they're recognizing and acknowledging it, right? Yeah. Okay. Anything else you thought was interesting about their whole dynamic as they approach the camp?
No.
Okay. So we see the next morning they decide to they start their climb up the mountain. So we get the obligatory mountain climbing sequence that we get a lot of things. So what did you think about how Mandalorians were using their little like shooting out the little cables and climbing? And what did you think about them trying to climb the mountain? Did you think that was kind of cool the way they used their armor, or did you think it was just kind of okay?
It was cool.
Yeah.
Because how could you get up there without having any armor or anything, like climbing with bare hands and feet?
Well, there's people that do that. They're kind of crazy, but yeah, most people use ropes and stuff. So they were using their cables and the tools that they have as part. So we were getting to see how they use all their weapons and gear in a way that's not just combat, right? We were getting to see them use it as in a way that, like, to climb this mountain and use it for a different purpose, but it was still practical and it still worked, right? Yeah. So that was kind of fun to see them do something other than just fight. So once we get there, I think it's Paz Vizsla, or I forget, Vizsla, the guy that's kind of been Mando's rival a little bit, because it's his son. When they get there and they see that there's a life sign, he just goes charging in, right? So what do you think of him being kind of rash once they got to the top?
Because it's his son, right?
Yeah, it's because it's his son. So it's understandable to you, right? Yeah. So, yeah, he's worried about his kid. He's wanting to save his kid. So he goes charging in. We see the baby birds are in the nest. They kind of like thing. And then Mama Bird comes back and kind of it all just goes crazy, right? As we get the mom grabs him and takes off with the kid. And yeah, she's like trying to eat him and takes off with the kid and flies away. And they all go chasing her on the jetpack. So they end up having to chase her with the jetpacks again anyway, right? So yeah, Bo-Katan has a jetpack at this point because they're all stuck. So what did you think of this whole fight sequence and taking on the bird? What did you think of this?
Well, I did like the babies. They're cute.
You thought the babies were cute?
But the bird was ugly.
The bird was ugly, though. Okay.
But the mommy was ugly.
Yeah. But did you like the fight sequence, the aerial fight sequence? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything that stood out about it to you?
I don't know, just like the flying around and like looking at all the mountains and like there's a little bit of person view in it. The fighting scene.
Yeah. I thought it was fun how they were trying to like stop the bird, but not really like they were trying to save the people the bird had by not. So they were kind of trying to balance. They couldn't really attack the bird, but they could. They had to do something to try to get to the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So ultimately, we see like Bo-Katan like freeze Paz Vizsla, and then ultimately they get the kid. The bird drops the kid because they kind of shoot it down, or they take out one of its wings, and we see Din Djarin save the kid. Like he uses his jetpack and catches him, saves the kid. But then we see kind of so that everything's good. They save the kid. They're back. But we see the creed doesn't just apply to like people. They take in the baby birds, right? They're more family. Mm-hmm. They take them in. So are you hoping in future seasons we see them flying around on these birds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so what did you think about them deciding to take in the babies?
Surprising.
You thought it was surprising?
Yeah.
Why? Why did you think it was surprising?
I don't know. I thought they... You know what? I actually changed my mind. I think it wasn't really surprising because you can't let those cute baby birds die.
Yeah. So, I mean, their philosophy, because Grogu was sort of a foundling, right? Their philosophy is to help when they find a kid or a youngster or someone in need, they try to help them. Is what is part of their creed. So, even though they're not going to be Mandalorians, it doesn't mean that they're not going to try to like protect them or you consider them family. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was interesting that they took them in. So the episode ends. They all get back. They're safe, and we see during the fight, Bo-Katan loses a piece of her armor, her shoulder piece. Mm-hmm. So the armor is like goes to replace it, and she asks for, instead of the night owl emblem, which is on her helmet and on her other shoulder, right, which represents her family and who she is, and mm-hmm. she asked for a mythosaur, and and the armor is like, well, every Mandalorian has a claim to the mythosaur, right? Yeah. And Bo-Katan, who didn't tell Jen that she saw it, could kind of keep it to herself, tells the armorer that she saw the mythosaur. What did you think of her telling someone else that she saw it?
A bad thing.
You thought that was a bad thing? Why? Mm-hmm. I'm interested. Why did you think that was a bad thing?
I don't know. It could spread somehow. That
it might, like, other people might find out and like try to kill it or take it out because it's a symbol important to the Mandalorians or something. Is that what you thought?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and you see that the armor, which interestingly enough just responds with, like, so Bo-Katan, it was definitely, for me, I thought it was a big moment for her that she takes the leap of faith to trust these people. Like we saw in season 2 when she first introduced and she finds out he's a member of the Watch, and she calls the Watch a cult and extremists, and she kind of looks down on them, right? When we first meet her. Mm-hmm. And we see her like actually opening up to them and accepting them, and actually like something that she would probably guard as a really close secret. She tells this person, like she tells the armor, so she has respect for her. So do you think that was important, like character development for her, that she was willing to trust these people?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But the armor responds how the armor always responds, which is, this is the way. Mm-hmm. so okay. So anything else from this episode? Anything else that you want to talk about we haven't talked about yet?
She got the night owl and the mythosaur, right?
So now she has, on one shoulder, she has the night owl, and on the other, which is also on her helmet, and then on the other shoulder, she has the mythosaur now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed it's that silver armor, right? That like Mandalorian has on him.
Right. So like all her other armor is painted, Like, yeah, and so see, the new piece that she made for her is not painted. It's it's raw Beskar. Like Mando's is just like everyone else is painted theirs. His is just plain Beskar, right? He doesn't. It's just shiny Beskar. He's never like painted it or decorated it. He's just it's a very plain style. So her new piece has not been painted yet. You're correct. Okay, so overall, what did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Was it best episode of the season? Somewhere in the middle. Okay. What did you think of this episode?
It was okay.
It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what made it only okay? Did you feel like it was maybe just not enough happening, or what?
Well, the Baby Yoda thing, I guess, like with the flashback, I guess, and the shortness of the episode.
But just not enough going on.
Much more.
Yeah.
Instead of just a Baby Yoda thing.
Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a repetitive episode. It was kind of like the episode where they took on the Crate Dragon and stuff. Like it was just like taking on a monster again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not a lot of the season storyline development in what we were. Yeah. So it was really just about getting a little background on Grogu and then seeing Bo-Katan fitting in with this group in a way we hadn't seen before. Because we don't really get, Jin doesn't do a whole lot in the episode. It's really a Bo-Katan Grogu focused episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've both already watched episode 5. We're not going to talk about it tonight. But just in general, have you enjoyed through the first 4 episodes? Have you enjoyed the season so far?
Yes. Not as much as Obi-Wan, though.
Not as much as Obi-Wan, but you've enjoyed it as much as the previous seasons of Mandalorian.
The second season's best.
Second season's still the best. Okay. Well, we'll have to see. They got a few more episodes. Maybe they can catch up. We'll see what happens. But unless you got anything else, we will get out of here. Anything else you want to say?
Anything.
You don't have anything? All right. Well, I want to thank Craig69, who was not here. He was not here, so we can't thank him for being here. But that's just something that's how he responds in the chat. He's never here. That's his thing. So that's this person that maybe I don't know if you know her or not, but and then GT Key and Crazy Guy and Unruly and everyone else. There are several others that didn't comment in the chat that are definitely watching according to the numbers. So I want to thank you all for hanging out with us, and we will see you back here Thursday to talk episode 5. Later, everyone. Bye.